Hi, and welcome back. Our guest today is Danielle Campisi, the owner of Danswell, a holistic health education company from Tarrytown, New York. Thank you again for joining us today, Danielle.
My pleasure. Thank you again for having me.
Now, we've discussed the uses of hemp oil, but have you ever heard of using hemp oil for pets? Because pets have a lot of health issues and pain issues.
Absolutely, absolutely. Basically, every single being out there that's bigger than an insect it has an endocannabinoid system. So,
What is an endocannabinoid
and
system
therefore
exactly?
can benefit. It's a system within our body, just like we have hormone receptors in our
Okay,
body
okay.
that react to eating seeds, for example, that trigger estrogen or progesterone levels in our body. It's like a computer system, right?
Okay.
It just reads information that you give to it.
Okay.
And this endocannabinoid system directly is designed to interact with the hemp plant and the
Oh.
cannabinoids in the hemp plant.
So people do use it on their pets. People,
Yeah.
I don't have any pets, but I would assume that people do seek some kind of holistic care for their pets when they have health issues and things like that. Now, the big
Sure.
question is, where can you find hemp oil?
Sure. Well, these days I feel like it's popping up in a lot of places. There's a lot of hemp oil out there. Whether it be, potentially even or on the black market or within Whole Foods or in your vitamin store or, in my case, it's through a direct marketing company. It's important that you evaluate each one and where it's coming from and the source. So, for example, the company that I'm affiliated with publishes the certificates of analysis for every single batch on its website. And it's made I know exactly who's making it. It's made in a lab called Quicksilver Labs by an amazing man named Dr. Chris Shade, who is a Lehigh grad like myself, and became famous for these delivery systems and detoxing the body. He had his own healing journey that's driven him there. We also have, hemp seed oil, and I think it's important to describe the difference very briefly. The hemp seed oil it does not have cannabinoids in it. It does not trigger the same type of interaction with your endocannabinoid system. It's more for it has other benefits, but different than hemp oil that might contain cannabinoids or phytocannabinoid diols in the case of Prime Body's hemp oil.
Well, let's talk about Danielle, the entrepreneur. Danielle, the social entrepreneur. You've done a lot of interesting and exciting things in your life, from your business to working in finance and entrepreneurship to wellness. As a matter of fact, we both have an admiration mutually for Louise Hay. How has your faith influenced your life and career?
Wow. Yeah. No, it has been the foundation of what I am now. Louise Hay is someone who came, for viewers, right? Louise Hay is someone who came around, I guess, in the 1970s she started. Was it the 70s?
Yes, I believe so. And she just died in
and she
August.
just passed away in her 80s, yep.
Yeah, not this August, but the August before that, I believe.
And a lot of her work centers around what we're talking about today, self-healing, healing the body. You can heal yourself. And at that time, it wasn't scientifically proven. A lot of us, we need that scientifically proven thing in order to validate that it actually works. But yet, there are many things that are invisible that work. We don't need to scientifically prove them. And now her theories have actually been scientifically proven today. And so, I meditate for the last 6 years about now. I meditate nearly every day. I have a personal relationship with God, with the Creator. I was raised Roman Catholic.
Oh, wow.
And I rejected it. I felt it was something we were being forced to do for the grandparents, and women had no place of power there, and they certainly seemed to separate a lot of people out of their religion. So I didn't take to it from that standpoint. Didn't go to church for many, many years. I still don't really go to church. My church is the earth. And when I look back on the health issues that I've had over the last decade, which started with my hands, I lost the use of my hands. For about 3 months, I was on sick leave in London. And that's the first time in my early 30s that I started to realize that there was some message going on, but I didn't know it at the time. And I was given opportunities to change directions and leave financial services, which I really wasn't fulfilled by. And I think that's part of where faith comes in, is that we all have a purpose on this planet. And finding your unique purpose is part of what creates vitality and health inside of us. When we feel like we're aligned to our purpose, it doesn't feel like work, right? And we're in our joy. And so for me, coming back to a place of meditation and breath work, and using those things as tools to conquer the health challenges that I've had has been foundational, and certainly led me to change my career, to find and turn towards joy. Because joy is the highest level of vibration, the highest level of frequency that we can exist within. With love and appreciation, these are certain frequencies, and all of us, our main purpose is to exist with joy. And so we then start to question, what is joy? And for me, waking up every day happy, waking up feeling like I'm making an impact, contributing to others, being in service to others, enhancing their life is really important for me. And so I really needed to turn my career into a place that where I felt I was doing that.
What advice would you give to others who are interested in giving back to family caregivers and patients through their own business? And what is the next chapter for Danielle Campisi?
Well, I think the most important advice that I can give to people listening to us today, especially as a caregiver, is to care for yourself, to love yourself. Much of what exists in terms of the messaging that we're getting, the suffering that's being created, especially in the first world, relates to a lack of love for ourselves, or a lack of feeling complete. And that can be a really hard shift. I know it was for me. I mean, to stand turning around and looking at myself in the mirror, shocked as you may be, I know people see me and they're, wow, she's so beautiful, and I thank you for that. But looking in the mirror and how you feel inside, if you can't look in the mirror and say to yourself, Danielle, I love you, and that feels uncomfortable for you, then there's something missing inside how you're feeling about yourself. And your cells are going to hear all of that and continue to send messages to you until you get the message.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I think particularly in where we view ourselves on the planet, if you just heal yourself and your daily habits, believe me, it will translate right into the planet. We spend $3 trillion a year on our purchases, on our consumption here. So if we shift those purchases into things that are good for ourselves, ultimately it will be good for the planet, and we'll see these shifts continue to happen. I think it's the most exciting time to be on the planet because we have the technology, we have the information, we have all the tools we need, and now we're going to see them be put into use. And what the planet is going to look like is really exciting. The love, the peace, the joy that it will be filled with as a result. And just by caring for yourself, carving out that time, whether it's taking a bath, even if it feels uncomfortable at first, or taking a walk around the block, start small. I know I had to. In loving yourself is one of the best things you can do.
Beautiful. Well said.
Your other question is, where next? Where next? So,
Yes. What is next for Danielle?
So what's next for me is I am actually moving for an apprenticeship to a medicinal herb farm.
That sounds exciting.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. I've been praying for this.
Wow.
And I've been in conversation with some farms over the last few years, because when I most recently was evaluated 6 years ago by a holistic doctor, an MD. He said, there's nothing you can do to change your nutrition, Danielle. Your nutrition is fine. It's an emotional issue, and I want you to start going outside. 1 day a week. I was living in New York City. I lived in New York City for 8 years until recently. And I found it really hard to just even walk outside for 1 day in the week and be in nature. And I started doing that, and now I do it every day. Okay, I wouldn't have a day where I don't put my bare feet on the ground. So for me, in my healing process, it's really important for me to go to this farm and be a part of a community so that it's not all on me. I don't believe that God intended for us, or the Creator, somebody created us, to do everything alone, right? I mean, to cook for myself and nourish myself, which I generally do every day, and to do all of the things that I'm supposed to be doing, these new exercises. It's really hard to do that and then also work full time. So I believe we're going to be moving more and more towards community-based activities as we nourish and support one another, because I guarantee there's nothing that, no addiction, there's no habit that somebody else doesn't have. They're just good at hiding it and need support, just as you need support. So for me, I'll have that at the farm. I'll be farming on the land. I'll be working the markets at Dag Hammarskjöld and Union Square on the medicinal herbs. I'll be doing the making of the tinctures and the drying of the herbs. And I'm very, very excited about that, making teas. Teas are very powerful for healing. So a lot of what I'm doing is all around natural healing, as you're kind of getting the message here, and working within yourself to do that and with what is around us naturally.
Well, that is wonderful. So you have a long, beautiful, exciting journey ahead of you. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us today, and we are very excited to have you back on our show again very soon.
Thank you very much for having me, Jazz.
Thank you for joining us. We'll be right back.